Okay, when you're ready. So, audience participation, first of all, please raise your hands if you would like to own your own small business, or maybe you'll do grow to a medium-sized business, become a millionaire, and retire and live on a big yacht for the rest of your life. And as I suspected, lots of people would do that. And the thing is, in the past, if you wanted to do that, you had to make a business plan, and that business plan would need to forecast 5 years into the future and be full of detail of all these wonderful things you'd have to propose to do. But really, you know, that was then when companies were big companies and needed lots of space, and they'd have secretaries and room for bosses and room for machines. But that's kind of moved on from there. But the current thinking, funny enough, is still that we need some kind of business plan, that we need to perhaps project not 5 years into the future, but perhaps just 2 or 3 years. And if we look back at what's happened over the last couple of years, we can see that even like the last year, we can see that's nearly impossible. And perhaps the idea of planning for a business is a little bit broken. And an example is Hotmail. That's their old logo there. They wrote their business plan in one evening. They got funding to get up and running, and they sold their business for $400 million to Microsoft. So not much of a business plan going on there. So what I'm here to do is see if we can sort of smash that myth about the whole idea of business planning. Because if we ask ourselves why we plan, well, why do we plan? Well, we want to sort of plan for things we can't predict or guarantee. And it's really just a series of steps to get us to our end goal. But when we talk to entrepreneurs and ask about their planning, they say, well, actually, most of it was really quite random. I just sort of ended up here and beat my own path, and isn't it wonderful? And the plan I came up with just suddenly disappeared and vaporised. So was that really worth doing? Perhaps it was time to unplan their business and just do it. And so that's what we're going to look at now. What is unplan your business? Well, unplan your business is actually getting on with a series of steps to be carried out or goals to be accomplished, rather than sort of analysing it down to the part where we're paralysed. And if we go, well, there's 2 ways of doing that. There's the first way, which is if it's a low risk, if you're not going to be risking your family, if you're not going to be, throwing the mortgage out the window and all those things, can't you just press green, the go button, and get on and do it? And if you look at all the tools that are out there now that weren't available 10 years ago, e-commerce means if you want to sell something on the internet, you can buy for just pennies an e-commerce site, and it will run the back end. You can pay with credit cards. People can pay with their credit cards, and the money will go straight into your account. It's pretty easy to do. And what if you need a logo? Well, you can crowdsource. You can get a number of people together, and you can choose the one you like the best from great designers and pay maybe just $200 to get your logo design. And what about if you need a concept or an idea or a marketing strategy? Well, exactly the same can happen. You can crowdsource it. You can go online, type in for crowdsourcing, and have someone come up with ideas. And again, if you like one, if the best one, you can pay for that. And then when it comes to communication, well, if you go back 10 years, communication, you'd need this office and all this space. Well, now most of us are carrying around everything we need to do the communications in our pocket. The email, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, all those different streams of communicating people are just right here in our pocket. They don't need to be part of a business plan anymore. And the most powerful tool you've got of all is actually, as an entrepreneur, is your gut instinct, what you believe you should be doing. And because the times are going to change so quickly, maybe the big plan that we were thinking about we needed before is actually just a series of events. But what if the risk is really high? Well, if the risk is high, you've got 2 choices. You can either lay in bed at night and worry about it, or you can go out and find someone that's had a similar experience and ask how they got round that problem. And you'll probably find someone, because all too often we hear this from entrepreneurs or want to be entrepreneurs, this sort of story, this boo-hoo, oh, I can't do it because of, oh, I've got to write a business plan, I'm under stress doing this and I'm doing that. By the time they've written a business plan, they could have possibly actually tested the idea, and what they end up is this sort of, that analysis drives us to paralysis. And if you overanalyze anything, you'll eventually discover something outside of your comfort zone, which is going to mean that you won't go ahead and do it. Maybe it's time to just jump on and do it. And if you focus on the problems, then the problems tend to move towards you and get bigger. But if you go and focus on the solution, then exactly the same happens. So the solution will start to come towards you and get bigger. So when it comes to unplanning for success, I think my final words are, with a sort of rigid, fixed plan mindset, it can be very difficult. Keeping it flexible and open-minded is surely the way to succeed that we've seen from entrepreneurs. And you could also, by being fixed, just miss out on some great business opportunities. Thank you.